Welcome back to the Almost Lovers Club. I'm your host, Ashley. This is where we talk about the love stories that don't end with weddings or breakups, but with questions. The kind that follow us quietly through the years, the kind we don't always admit out loud because doing so means facing the life we didn't choose. Tonight's story is about boundaries, culture, and the fine line between discernment and fear. Our guest is calling in from Florida. She's 42 years old, and she asked that we keep her last name private. For tonight, we'll call her Isabel. Isabel, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ashley. I've been listening for a long time. I didn't think I'd ever call, but lately the silence has been louder than the fear. I'm really glad you trusted us with that silence. Tell us about Miguel. Miguel Lamas was a persistent young man, in the gentlest way possible, of course. We grew up in the same neighborhood, same parish, same schools, same Sunday routines. Everyone knew everyone, especially our families. He asked me out for years, not dramatically, just steadily, coffee, church events, walks, dinner with his family, which I usually declined.
Why did you say no?
At the time, I had very clear reasons. His family was a lot. Loud, involved, always present. And Miguel, he really adored his mother. Yes, his schedule, his decisions, even what shirt he wore sometimes. I grew up Catholic in a tight-knit Hispanic community. I understood family closeness, but this felt, suffocating. I see. So you were afraid of disappearing into that family? Exactly. I watched the women around me give up pieces of themselves quietly, not unhappily, just slowly. That was life for women in our Hispanic community. In a way, it still is, I told myself I was being wise, that love shouldn't require that kind of sacrifice. So I said no, again and again. And Miguel kept asking. He did. Never pushy, never resentful. Sometimes he'd laugh and say, "One day you'll say yes," and I'd smile like it was a joke, but I never meant to say yes.
Did you date other people?
Yes, men from outside the community, men with distance from family, men who felt uncomplicated. But none of them stayed. Some left quietly, some dramatically. None of them felt rooted, devoted to me. Miguel, he stayed where he was, watching, waiting, until one day he wasn't. What happened? He stopped asking. No announcement, no explanation. He married someone else, a woman his mother adored. They had children, built a life. I attended the wedding, smiled, danced, congratulated him, and went home with something heavy settling in my chest. Little did I know then that was the moment I had lost my one true chance at love, children, and happiness. What was it that was weighing heavily on you in that moment? The realization that I hadn't just said no to Miguel, I'd said no to being chosen, consistently, patiently, without conditions. That realization often comes quietly, too quietly, Life kept moving. My friends married, had children, built routines around school calendars and family dinners, and I stayed independent, respected, alone. I told myself I'd made the right choice.
And now, I know you have already said you have regrets, but what weighs heavily now on you?
Now I'm 42, unmarried, no children. I don't regret my freedom, but I'm not sure I want it as I want a life with Miguel. I regret the rigidity of my standards. I mistook caution for wisdom. Do you think Miguel would have changed? I think he would have met me halfway. That's what hurts the most. I never gave him the chance to show me who he could be with me, not just who he was in his family.
That's a powerful distinction.
I believed love had to arrive perfectly aligned with my ideals, but real love adapts, negotiates, grows. Miguel already knew how to stay. Do you still see him? Sometimes. At church, at community events. He's kind, respectful, happy, and I wonder, what if I trusted love more than fear?
Isabel,
Do you feel regret or grief? Grief mostly. For the life I could have lived. For the version of myself that might have softened instead of bracing. But it really depends on the time of day or day of the week. Other days, I feel love too. For Miguel.
I have listened to a lot of people share their experiences with love, as you can imagine, and I've come to believe feeling regret says I was wrong, and grief says something mattered.
I do agree with that. I agree with it and don't agree with it at the same time, you know what I mean? I don't think I was wrong to want boundaries. I think I was wrong to believe love couldn't coexist with them.
What would you say to Miguel now, if you could speak freely?
That's a great question. I think I'd thank him for his patience, his steadiness, his faith in me when I didn't have faith in love. And I'd apologize, not for saying no, but for never asking why he stayed.
That's beautiful.
I don't want to live the rest of my life punishing myself for a decision I made with the information I had at the time. But I did want to tell this story honestly, so maybe someone else hears it sooner. That honesty matters more than redemption. I still believe love is possible for me, but I no longer believe it will arrive without inconvenience.
Love almost never does.
Yes, I think Miguel taught me that, even from a distance.
To everyone listening, sometimes the love we turn away isn't wrong. It's just human to do that. In hindsight, we always should have made different decisions because now we know more. Sometimes the price of certainty is connection. Give love a chance and let love lead. This has been the Almost Lovers Club. I'm Ashley. Please remember, discernment protects us, but softness allows us to be found.